Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dev Diary, and today I attempt to redeem myself. So before we get into things, remember to leave a like if you enjoy the video and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and make sure notifications are turned on so you don't miss future videos. Now, a while back we showcased a weird Tetris game that ended up being like the third version of a failed idea, and if we're being honest, that wasn't even really a Tetris game, more like a game featuring Tetris pieces. And not even all the pieces either. I completely forgot to include the T-shape. Anyway, despite the failures, I still felt that the original idea could work. It just needed some fine-tuning. Which brings us to today's project and my attempt to redeem that idea. So if you remember, the original idea was a Tetris-like that included some action game twist. And this is the refined and simplified version that does just that. Starting with the Tetris-like part, shapes will fall from the top of the screen one at a time. Each shape that falls is temporarily given control to the player to rotate similarly to Tetris. And once the shape hits the floor or a different piece below it, the shape is locked into place and control is removed. Again, very reminiscent of traditional Tetris, so the first twist comes in the way that the player moves pieces left and right. The player actually controls the two clown faces located on each side of the screen, and they can fire a projectile from each side with left and right click respectively. And when these projectiles come in contact with a shape, the projectile will move that shape in the same direction that they are moving. The projectile is then destroyed, and projectiles will ignore any shape that isn't the one currently controlled by the player. Now, while our game does feature the whole cast of shapes from Tetris, our game includes one more shape as yet another twist in the concept. This X shape will appear occasionally to wreck the player's progress. That's right, if this shape touches any other shapes or the floor, it'll explode, taking with it any other shapes caught in its blast radius. And shooting at these shapes specifically will eventually destroy them, hopefully before they destroy anything else. Now, the player wins if they can manage to successfully place the given amount of shapes in the space provided. But of course, much like Tetris, any pieces placed too high up will result in a fail. The amount of pieces required is completely random and is set when the round begins. Now, originally, the plan was also to mess with the margins to make the game more dynamic, but the HUD, which admittedly could have used some more work, didn't fit well at certain sizes. Just like my PC apparently isn't fit for Windows 11, which Microsoft decided to remind me about literally as I'm recording this. Thank you, Microsoft, you're lucky I don't have time to learn Linux. So hey, if you enjoy these videos and would like to help me keep making them, consider supporting me on Patreon. You can get early access to exclusive content and downloads, plus early access to weekly Dev Diary videos before they're released on YouTube. And it'll also help me get Windows off my back. Now back to what I was saying. Another fun fact is that this was originally supposed to be a physics-based game, but there were issues when turning on and off the physics without it breaking everything. And this is really likely due to my lack of knowledge with how to properly use gamemaker's physics. But there were also some weird inconsistencies with fixtures and rotations, which is something I've never had issue with before. So yeah, a lot left to learn apparently. And much like a lot of my recent work, this is where I stopped. Partly because I didn't expect that this one would be at all successful, but also because this week was just really busy and adding anything more would have taken up too much time. Regardless, I do find it interesting to compare this new revised version with that third version from the previous video, because as mentioned in that video, both share a lot of the same characteristics and ideas, but both execute them differently. And this is probably one of my favorite aspects of doing Dev Diary. You know, being able to reflect on past works and like seeing how everything connects on this like weird game dev journey, I guess. Anyway, at this point I'm rambling, mostly because this was an unfortunately shorter video than usual, so I would love to hear from you. What do you think we could add to turn this into a more full idea? Progression, dangers, maybe no dangers, instead we go cozy? Be sure to leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments. But with that said, brings us to the end of today's Dev Diary, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.